Welcome back. I'm Sarah with ALM. And if you were here with us last week, then you know that we spent some time talking about a member survey that we did on staffing. And we came to a conclusion. You can't pay your way out of a leadership problem, and you can't benefit your way out of an accountability gap. Today, I want to introduce you to someone who's been doing that work on purpose for years. Wendy McFall is the general manager of Fillmore Linen Services in Chicago. And we're going to learn a little bit more about Wendy and the unique story of Fillmore Linen in this next episode. So let's talk about it. Let's just set the scene. So let's get straight into it. So take us to North Lawndale. Okay. For our listeners who've never been there and only know it by reputation, what do they need to understand about the community before we talk about the laundry?
Okay. So North Lawndale is located on the west side of Chicago, only miles from downtown. It has been historically a factory slash plant community. Well, in the early 1950s, 1960s, a lot of businesses moved to the suburbs or out of state. So it became not only a food desert, but a job desert for the residents, of North Lawndale. So it has been a disenfranchised area, and we are bringing new life, blowing new life, resuscitating this area with this opportunity here at Fillmore Linen Service.
Great. Thank you for kind of just setting the scene for us. Now, talk about the decision to move a laundry there. And I know that you weren't necessarily involved in all of that. I don't believe, right? You came in kind of after that point. Right. But I know that you know a lot about it and love about the history there. But I think it's an important part of this story. So just talk to us about the decision to build the laundry there, and the purpose behind it, and really just kind of the original vision.
We were founded by the Staines Family Foundation. They are a prominent family within Chicago that provide job opportunities, schools, restaurants, provide opportunities for individuals that are seeking an opportunity to change their lives. So I'm proud to say I was probably the fifth employee 2 years ago, February 2024. So I've literally watched this baby grow. I say that I helped birth Fillmore Linen Service. When I interviewed, construction hadn't taken place. So I was a bit nervous, if I can be honest with you, but I took that leap of faith and seen faith to fruition. And I'm so glad I made that decision. So
That's
really,
it.
really excited. But they saw the need. They saw the need here in North Lawndale. They also were aware of the industry. We are one of the few healthcare laundry facilities in Chicago. A lot of the hospitals were receiving linens from Indiana and Wisconsin. So they said, hey, we want to provide an opportunity to restore integrity as well as provide great quality. Again, we are moments away from the Illinois Medical District. So it was twofold. It was providing an opportunity for the residents of North Lawndale, as well as providing good quality service to the local hospitals.
This was a need meeting a need, which I think is really cool.
Absolutely.
And not only does it have that strong community tie, but there has been a lot of intention behind building a really strong and what I consider a healthy culture there.
Yes.
Everybody talks about culture, right? But it's something that people say a lot of times, right? Until you actually walk on that floor. And when you
Yes.
walk on the floor at Fillmore, it's a totally different experience. So, talk to us about that. What would we see or hear or feel in the first 10 minutes of being in that plant that would tell me that your culture is real and not just something that you put on a poster?
Absolutely. So we were very intentional in the infancy stages of building Fillmore Linen Service and ensuring that this facility was employee friendly. What do I mean? The lighting is bright. We have DOASs, so we're climate control. Not many healthcare laundry facilities are climate control. So we have climate control. We have high technology, but that's just the base, right? We also celebrate our employees. Yesterday we had a every month, but yesterday we have an employee appreciation lunch, and we award high performers with gift cards and celebrate their birthdays. So we understand that they run so we can walk. So we want to ensure that when they come to work, it's a totally different experience. Myself, and it's so funny, one employee want to have a personalized handshake with me. Well, that became contagious. So I have a personalized handshake that I have to remember because it's one of me, and it's almost 200 of them. This a specific handshake, but we promote it. We feel that attitude and altitude is reflective of leadership. So if we keep positive energy, we have music playing, all types of encouraging music playing, just to set the tone, just to set the atmosphere. And we have found that we have been quite successful with that. When you come to Fillmore Linen Service, and we have guests from all over the world, when they come, they feel the energy. The people are happy to be at work, and you see it. That's not something you can train, right? You can't train a good attitude. But they understand the critical mission critical service that we provide, and they're totally bought into it. And that provides a great quality.
Absolutely, and I couldn't agree more. And I've had the pleasure of being at your laundry, and I 100% agree with you that when you walk out on the floor, you feel the energy from the beginning.
Yes.
I didn't know about
Yes.
your handshake until we walked out onto the production floor, and I saw you not only taking the
Yes.
time to say hello and speak with each
Yes.
employee, but then I quickly picked up on the fact that you were doing a different handshake, right, with each of them, and I thought this is really cool. So I had my own little
Yes.
experience there on the floor
Yes.
with one of your employees. I think he was in like loadouts,
Yes.
and so that was fun. And then I was like, but Wendy, like, we need a handshake. And so then
Yes.
you made up a handshake for us, and so I felt like really a part of the team. But you could
Yes.
feel that energy, the fact that you really took the time to stop and speak with them. And I mean, you were asking them about things. It wasn't just like a handshake and move on, right? Like, you were very intentional with your 30 seconds that you spent with them. But that
Yes.
they were it genuinely made their day. And it's so cool to see leaders that take the time to be that engaged with their employees, and the energy that it creates is just amazing. It was really neat to watch, but the intentionality behind it is something that I think as leaders we oftentimes just get in work mode. And it's so
Yes.
easy for us to forget that little bit of human interaction, or I don't have time for that today. And so being intentional consistently, I think, is something, and you definitely can see it there. You can see that the intentionality is something that is continually reinforced, because there wouldn't be that much genuine connection and joy and interaction between you if not. And so that to me was it was a really neat experience, and it also kind of reminded me that as a leader, like, the little things that we do, they really do make all the difference in creating the type of culture that we want to have. And we didn't really talk about this in the beginning. I think it was kind of like brushed over just a little bit. So let's talk about the employee base that's there. So this laundry was built in order to be a good, stable workforce option for people, to employ them where they didn't have to go out of the community, and also show them that there was a different life. But with that comes sometimes a different type of employee base because of the things that have gone on in North Lawndale over the years. And so a lot of times they've come into trouble before, and they have different circumstances. So talk a little bit about that, and some of the things that you have done, and some of the employees that you have that maybe wouldn't be employable otherwise, but they are given an opportunity at.
So glad that you mentioned that, Sarah, and it's so true. So people often say we're a second chance company, right? Some of our employees are recently released and they are transitioning back to being a productive member of society. Well, I consider Fillmore Linen Service another chance, not a second chance. So what we do, we equip them to be successful. Like I mentioned, we're a food desert, right? So we provide food assistance and other wraparound services, such as we have a partnership with the bank, and they provide financial leadership, financial services, as well as transportation, some childcare, some housing assistance. So we provide everything that normal employers would kind of just brush off and forget. We provide those essentials to ensure that not only are we given a job, but we're changing the trajectory of lives. One of our one-liners is changing linens and changing lives, and that is what we are committed to do. And this population has been often forgotten, and I'm very, very intentional, and I'm getting emotional, but I'm very, very intentional in allowing my staff to feel seen
Mhm.
and remembering certain details. Um, So that's very important to me. I feel like I am purposed for this work. This is a part of my life purpose to ensure someone feels heard, someone feels seen, um, and doing what we can. We're not a charity. We're definitely not a charity, right? But we are an opportunity for North Lawndale to grow. And we've seen when you sow those seeds in individuals of just care, it blossoms. We've seen the harvest of that, and we're very, very proud of what we're building here with our staff. They're family. In the beginning, I started this handle. I'm really good for one-liners, but feel more at Fillmore, right? So you will feel the energy with the staff because of that culture that we set.
Yes, that's an awesome one line. And to that point, so you're invested in the community, right? You're invested in the individual lives of your employees. And so what has that meant for things that we all struggle with, like turnover and recruitment? What does that look like for you? What is your turnover? You don't have to give us the exact rate, but just talk to us a little bit about turnover.
So actually, we have provided such a great culture. A lot of people don't wanna leave. They don't wanna go
Mhm.
home. So we say, "We're not having overtime. Thank you. We'll see you tomorrow." Our turnover rate is minimal. It might be something like childcare, and we try to provide the opportunity. Now, we realize we can't help everybody, right, that doesn't wanna be helped, but we do the best that we can by providing the tools, that they need to be successful. But our turnover rate is minimal. Everyone loves it here. Everyone's bought in here. This is kind of a home away from home. They have, um, essentials here that they may not have at home, right? Just the climate control on those hot days or on those cold days. So they like to spend time here. And we're family. We are a Fillmore family.
I couldn't agree more. And I've seen it. I happen to spend a lot of time up there, the beginning part of the year, and by the end, I can tell you, I felt like I was a part of that family. And if anything was ever going to take me back into operations, it would be Fillmore, except for the fact that you're located in Chicago, and I'm sorry, I'm a Southern girl at heart. I cannot do the cold.
I
Um,
understand. I remember those cold days we had here. Yeah, I
Yeah,
understand that.
the day that
I know
I
you were
I landed and it was like -4 with a wind chill of -16. Yeah, that did me in. Um,
yes.
okay, so that was a little sidebar there. Let's talk about recruitment. What does that look like for you guys? Do you have a hard time recruiting people, or is that fit stay pretty full?
No, actually, that fit stays pretty full. We partner with organizations that actually give us or provide staffing for us, like the North Lawndale Employment Network. We're partnered with St. Leonard's. We're partnered with a lot of organizations that are helping. recently released individuals transition back to life. So, or productive life, right? So we do not have a problem. And the community has watched the building and the construction of Fillmore Lane and Service, so they've been watching from the shadows, and they were so excited about the opportunity to just come in and tour the facility, and once they saw how bright and comfortable it was, they were bought in, and they told their family, they told their friends. In the beginning, 2 years ago, I was hearing, we were just hiring. We literally out the door, down the window, as if we were giving something away. They can see it. We're like a beacon light to the community. They could see it and they felt it. So we do not have any employment issues.
And you've become so invested in a community that that has been
Yeah.
a good way for you to get a lot of those recruited employees in, which I think is another really cool point. You can't always expect for people just to come to you. You have to find partners in the community that can help you, right? Bring people to you, and sometimes we need to be open to. Okay, we're not a second chance employee or employer, but maybe that's something that we could consider because there are ways that you could be successful, and you all have shown that, especially with the other resources, that and you don't always have to provide those resources, right? You can just help put those resources around them to help ensure that they are successful. But that creates a culture that people want to stay for. But that's not all alone. We know that you have to train them, and you have to show them how to do the job. So talk to us about like an onboarding process for your employees, and like that 90-day process. What does that look like for you, and how consistent are you with ensuring that you started off on day one?
Absolutely. I'm glad that you mentioned that. So the onboarding process starts with introducing them to the Fillmore way, having them bought in on day one of onboarding. We do have a comprehensive training plan. And then we partner them with a buddy, right? One of our high performers that help escort them through this training so they feel like, okay, I'm a part of a team. We connect them with a teammate. And we have found that that is quite successful. They don't feel alone. Starting a new job is scary, right?
Mhm.
From
Right.
every level, starting a new job is scary. But if you have a teammate beside you that connect that you can connect with, and we're very intentional with choosing those lead teammates, partnering in them with individuals. Maybe they have similar backgrounds, right? So they can truly identify with them, and let them know, hey, this is a great opportunity to take advantage of.
Great. Thank you so much for that feedback. I really appreciate that, and I think it's something that our listeners need to hear. We need to be invested from our with our employees from the first day that they start with us, and help show them that path forward. That said, in our last episode, I made the case that most of our industry staffing problems are really leadership development problems. And you've built a place where people they want to stay in a community where people change jobs constantly. What does your approach to developing your frontline leaders look like? And did you have to unlearn how the industry usually does it?
That is a great question, Sarah. Even though Fillmore Linen Service will be 2 years old in June. And so we're very, very excited about celebrating the success of that. But we've learned, for us to grow, we have to employ and empower key leaders. We invest heavily in training. We actually had a 7-week training with, you may have heard of her, Sarah Brobeck, the CEO and president of ALM. And it was quite refreshing, right? Even though we have been in this industry for a while, some reminders, some key tools to put in our tool belt, right, has helped us tremendously. And the training actually bonded us together. It made us stop and kind of reflect and relearn some skills that we may have forgotten. And we have seen the fruits of that training. Oftentimes people will remind each other and hold them accountable, like, remember that training we had? Remember week 3? remember week 4. So that has been quite successful. But again, just training key leaders changes trajectory of organizations. If you have that leadership reflects the staff, right? Or the staff reflects the key leadership. It's a partnership between staff and teammate, or leader and teammate.
The leadership training that we did for you guys was so incredible, and it wasn't just myself, it was Dan Sanchez too, so shout out Dan, with
Yes.
Sanchez
Shout
Advisory
out, Dan.
Group. And
Yes, yes,
but we
definitely.
had the unique opportunity to do this 7 week in-person training with you
Yes.
guys. And while it was a challenge for me to travel from Georgia up to Illinois, I can tell you that it brought me,
Heart of the winner.
yes, in the heart of the winter, it brought me back to the core of why I do this training, because you spoke to the experienced people that we had in the room, but there were a lot of people that this was their first time in a leadership position. And so there were light bulb moments that happen everywhere, but the ones with the employees that had not really been exposed to this before, I'll never forget. It was probably like week 3 or 4. um my good friend Maurice, he was telling us that he was starting to take some of the same things that he was learning from us and take them to his daughter's school, because he volunteered there as a mentor. And so he was teaching not only the students but the other parents, right, about some of the things that we were talking about. And that to me was like, okay, this is really cool. um but there was a competitiveness. So we had two groups. So go because we wanted the groups to be a little small, right? So we had the morning group and then the afternoon group, and there was a little bit of competitive nature in there. But by the end, I think that everybody was well connected, especially the people that were in a group together. But there was, because of the workflow, right? Sometimes people had to sit in other groups, so there was a lot of camaraderie just amongst all the staff. And we had some really hard conversations that were, eye opening, and they were sometimes hard to hear. And we looked at ourselves and we looked at each other and our teammates and how we show up versus what we mean to show up. And I think at the end of it, it reminded me of why I do what I do, right? But you could definitely see the difference in the staff and in Maurice. He was so proud. I'll let you tell this story if you want to, about how he felt
Yeah.
when he just received a certificate of completion.
So we do have some key leaders that have years of experience, but we also believe in growing individuals from within. I interviewed Maurice Banks 2 years ago, and I saw the hunger for success in his eyes. So he was a little nervous, right? New organization, new industry. I told him, trust me, and I'll get you where you want to go. And when I tell you, and here comes the emotion again, um, just to see him grow and develop has been so rewarding. He's one of my whys, why we do what we do, that investment. And you're absolutely right. There was some raw, hard conversations where we held people accountable, but sometimes there's growing pains, right? So we're
Mhm.
growing and we needed to address what those specific issues were. And that was great. But on completion day, um, Maurice was so ecstatic. He was supposed to be off work, but he had to come back to the say I was in the second cohort. He had to come back in the conference room. The training room is all glass. And he shows his certificate. Hold on, I have mine. He shows his certificate. I don't know if you can see that, but
Yeah,
he
it's a little
shows his
blurred.
okay. He shows his certificate, and I put mine in a display case, with all pride that he achieved something at work. And we have seen such exponential growth with Maurice from day one. He celebrated 2 years 2 weeks ago, and he was so excited about that. But that certificate of completion meant the world to him, the absolute world. He put on social media. He was walking around the plant. It was a great day.
It really was. And but you left out the strutting part. So he was Maurice was in the morning group. And so he came in so that he could get his certificate, right? And this was on his day off. And but he really wanted to be there, and he wanted to finish it out. But then when the second group was in, that Wendy was in, like we were all in the conference room that had the glass on it. Maurice was on the other side, right? And he comes with his certificate and he's holding it up, right? And he's like
Yes.
strutting, like walking
Yes.
down, just like in everybody's sight. And it was so funny, but
Yes.
he was so
Yes.
proud. He was so
He
proud.
was so proud.
And I
Yes.
thought that's why I do what I do, and just giving
Yes.
someone that sense of fulfillment and pride, who's also kind of spreading his stuff that he already had received his, and you all were still waiting on yours. So it's
Yes.
that little bit of healthy competition, but it was just the
Yes.
whole thing was a great reminder of why, as leaders, we do what we do and we invest in our employees, because when you can see them grow and you can see them grow together, it's just so rewarding. But Maurice
It is.
kind of he took the cake in my eyes. Just the pride that he had was just really awesome to be a part of.
He did. I just have to add this one little caveat. I'm so grateful for yourself and for Dan, just setting the tone for our training and giving us. There were some times where we had to pause and we had to address, and the way you all facilitated that was just beautiful. So, to my colleagues in the industry, I would definitely um support, or I would definitely recommend that you invest in the ALM leadership training for your teams. It was well worth it. Well worth it.
Well, thank you. That's something new that we're trying. But appreciate the recommendation, and yeah, if anybody's interested, just let us know. Okay, so let's switch just a little bit since we're getting to the end of the episode here.
Okay.
You are a general manager in an industry that is changing, but still doesn't have a ton of women in your seat. Now, I don't want this episode, right, to turn into a conversation about gender, because your work
Right.
stands on its own. But also, I think that we have
Right.
to talk about that a little bit, right? What I just
Yes.
want to ask you one thing. What is something you bring to this role specifically because of who you are? And what do you think that the industry needs more of?
What I bring to this role as general manager of Fillmore Lane and Service, I'm so proud to say that, is intentionality. Intentionality with the staff. Um, Very detail oriented. I come from a customer service background. So I have found not only are my customers or my partners I'm in partnership with, but also my staff, as I said earlier. If I give them everything that they need, right? Like I have to give my partners everything that they need to provide for their patients. If I do the same thing with my staff, right? We will be successful. This is just the beginning. We are sowing seeds. I am sowing seeds, intentional seeds in Fillmore Linen Service because I see it is great ground. It will harvest way after I'm gone. That is my life purpose. And that's what makes me different, a major differentiator from maybe some of my counterparts. Very intentional, very detail oriented.
And passionate. I think that's another thing that you and
And
I share a lot
passionate.
of, is that
Yes,
we have found the passion behind what we do, in developing people and running good operations and
yes,
serving the patients, at the
yes,
hospital. Specifically for you guys. For us, our industry is a little bit larger than that, but at the end of the day, right, there is someone laying on those sheets. There's someone using those towels and uniforms, and always keeping that at the heart of what it is that we do. And I know that you all have, not only do you feel that, but you cascade that down to your staff as well, and they know the
yes,
purpose, they know the why behind what it
yes.
is that you do.
Yes, I often say that linens is one item that touches a patient from the nursery to the morgue. That critical service that we provide. So yes,
That's a good
definitely passionate.
analogy. I like that. I like that.
Yes,
If we have other GMs that are listening to this, that are running a laundry in a community, that other employers have written off, and they want to start moving forward, but they don't really know how, to look at, like, perhaps second chance employees. What's one thing that they could do to start trying to evaluate that as an option?
Understand that you have been privileged with this opportunity in your role. Understand that um, building a team, regardless of past mistakes, you will see one that ROI if you take a chance on individuals, right? That may have a color background that does not resemble your own. If you take a chance, you will see a return on that investment. I can almost guarantee you. And I invite everyone to come if you are in the North Lawndale, Chicago area. Come visit us. Come see what I am saying because it will be life changing. Take that chance. Someone took a chance on us, right? Take that chance on someone else. It'll be quite rewarding.
That was awesome. I've got chills now. So that brings us to the end of our time here together. It has been a pleasure. Thank you so much for carving out time in your day to talk with us. It's always a pleasure, Wendy. And I look forward to seeing you again, because I'm not going to forget our handshake this time. We're going to be able to do it.
Yes. Yes.
Is there anything else that you wanted to add?
I'm totally putting you on the spot, Sarah, but you have been a model. I was at my first ALM convention in Fairhope, Alabama, and it was so empowering to me. And I'm so grateful for the legacy that you're leaving in this industry, not only for strong women, but just for leaders. So thank you. Thank you for your passion for this industry and for people. This has been a privilege. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you for being here, Wendy. I appreciate that. We are grateful that you took the time out of your day to tell us about the type of leader that you are and the wonderful community that you have built there at Fillmore.
Yes. Talk soon.
So, in our last episode, I asked you to audit your frontline leaders. And in this episode, I'm going to ask you, have you built a place that's worth working on purpose with intention, the way that Wendy and her team have? If not, that's your work. Go get started. That's all for this episode of Let's Talk About It. We'll see you next time.